If you are like me, you probably don't give a lot of beggars in traffic money. That's a fun way to start this episode. But do you though? Do you like give beggars money in traffic? Just think about it. If you don't, do you feel bad about it? See, let's leave aside the ethical argument. Let's just talk about the concept of begging and asking. What's the difference? So, according to the dictionary, the main difference between a beggar and a asker is value. But is it one of those things that our capitalist world has forced us to see things in a if you don't have value, you are an inconvenience. If you have value, you are necessary. And more importantly, do you know how to ask people for things or you feel some type of way about asking? See, this episode is one of those episodes wherein I'm just talking my viewpoint. I actually didn't make any research on this. I just want to talk my view on this particular topic, and let's see how it goes. This is a fun journey. I'm actually interested to see where I will take the conversation, and by the end, you decide if it was worth the watch. I hope it is worth the watch. So, back to the beggar in traffic story here. Me particularly, I don't give beggars, but something I started doing in 2021 is I look them in the eyes before I tell them no. I actually started the whole experiment of looking them in the eyes to, one, notice my discomfort and why do I feel uncomfortable with humanizing these beggars, and two, just the curiosity of what the humans they are might be. And something I noticed was when I started consciously doing that, I also started consciously paying attention to their choice of words. Like, I started paying attention to every other person in the environment. So, if I'm in a public bus, every person in the bus, how they feel about the beggars around. If I'm in a private car, how the other people in the car feel. Something I also noticed when I was paying attention to that was the fact that there are some beggars that even if I plan not to give them money, I end up giving them money. And those ones are actually why this topic is very interesting to me, the concept of a beggar versus an asker. Because what does it mean to ask for something? What does it mean to beg for something? Like I said before, the difference according to the dictionary is really value. But looking at it through that lens only is very, very tricky. But let's go back to the value concept first. If you're a driver, do you find it easier to give police money than you do to give beggars? Why is that so? Do you care about police more? Do you feel obligated to always give the police? Or let me remove police. Do you find it easier to give security in a gated estate? Let's say if you live in Lagos, you want to enter a gated estate and the security man was like, boss, show us love now. Do you find it easier to give that security than to give a beggar in traffic, those little children begging you for money? Why is that so? See, like I said, I started paying attention to it, and I've noticed here among a wide array of my friends and a wide array of people I know, it's easier to give the policeman or the security man money than to give the child begging. And for the policeman, you can argue that, there's a sort of obligation to it. But for like the security man in a gated estate that you can get your access regardless, why do we still do that? That's where the concept of value now plays a role. When you give the beggar in the road, the only value you see in giving them is the fact that if you give them the money, at the end of the day, you might feel good, you might feel like a good person. Oh God, I'm a saint. But when you give the security man, the police, you are giving them because of wanting and wanting only value, the value they add to your life. And how is that so? Let's go with the example of a security man. If you give the security man in a particular gated estate that you need access code or someone needs to call the gate for you to enter, they familiarize themselves with you. There's a higher chance that you will go back to that estate on a good day and they will give you access even without you having the access code or money. And that's like, it's part of a written contract, an unwritten contract. We don't know for sure that will happen, but we believe there's a possibility in the future for this deed of giving to be reciprocated. And that's why, even though we see them billing us as a sort of begging, we don't see it as a sort of begging in the same lens we see the beggars, those children begging us for money in traffic. And that's value. And the same is true for friends. Think about it. Any friend you know that is richer than you, or you know for a fact that, from a financial perspective, they have way more money than you. If they ask you for money, do you see it as begging or do you see it as asking? Now flip the script. Someone that you know you have way more money than, or way worse than that, someone you have known for a while that has never given you money back. Do you see them acting as begging? See, for a lot of people here, if you have a richer friend, and the richer friend is like, Alpha, if you help me with this 5k, no big deal, transfer. It's like, you don't even think about it twice. When I say you don't think about it twice, why? Because even though you know the friend will most likely not give you that 5k back, you also know that deep down, this person can help you in a myriad of ways. It's a almost value for value type shit, but you're not even looking at it from the curse words. I usually try not to curse on this podcast. Value for value type thing. And it's one of those situations that you know that, this person has value. And them asking me is not them begging me. So if they ask me and I have to give, I can give them. But more so than that here is because you, for one, don't feel obligated to give them, but you also know there's value attached to it. But for begging, it doesn't feel that way. It almost feels like there's an emotional obligation to give this person and there's no value attached to it. You just feel like this person will not give it back to you. So the beggar in the middle of the street, you just feel like this person will not give you more value back. Now, how can I use this value framework to look at the beggars I end up giving money to? One of the first time I noticed me giving money back to a beggar was the child, I think a young boy, can't remember for sure now, but I think a young boy. He said something that made me laugh. Usually these days they try to compliment you. Fine oga, boss man, you fine, all those kind of things. They try to compliment you. So it's not really about the compliment. It was the way he said something that made me laugh. So when he was complimenting me, I was like, nah, I'm not giving you. And it was like, God will bless you. I said, I don't believe in God. And he was like, still just done for me now. But there was a way he said it that I started laughing. As I started laughing, I was like, yeah, okay, you deserve it. I just put my hand in my pocket, gave him money. The last time something like this happened to me was, I was with my friend. He was driving and beggars came up. The first set of beggars that came up started cleaning the car. This is something they started. I don't know if it's all over Nigeria, but at least in Lagos here. The beggars start sort of cleaning the car. The cleaning the car is part of the value mindset. They want to give you a sort of value so that you can justify you giving money to them. They know them cleaning your car, they will never get the car clean. It's not a proper cleaning, and they are not asking you that, as I'm cleaning the car, you should give me this specific amount. No, they just know that doing that act of value increases the chances of you giving them money. Now back to the story I was saying. When the first set came and they started trying to clean the car, my friend was like, will you get out, leave my car alone. I just smiled. I was like, why do they do this? I'm like, I think to just justify you giving them money, say they should get out. Then another one came after that one left, and that one did not try to clean the car. He just started dancing in front of the car. He just started doing those funny TikTok dancing. I started laughing. I was like, okay, this one deserves the money for sure. And that's where it clicked on me. It's not just if you have value to give, it's also the value you have to give. The person you are asking for money, does the person respect or see that thing as valuable? So if the dancer was dancing wasn't interesting to me, I wouldn't have changed my viewpoint or if I should give the person or not. And why is this important? Know your value in someone's life. My last episode, I was talking about how we should not give people that are overly billing us and feel obligated. So this episode, I felt it makes sense to talk of a way to increase your chances of getting money. When you be someone, if you know your value and the value you add to this person's life, try to monetize that value in a The value add to this person's life, is it worth 1,000 naira? Before you ask the person for that 1,000 naira. Because it's not just you as a human being, it's also the value you add to their life. Is it something they see as that kind of value? Is it something they can conceptualize as that kind of value to justify spending the money on you? For some people, that value is straight up direct. If you're a giver too, you easily give money to them, you easily give gifts to them. It justifies them giving you back money. For some people, the value is more information. It's added value, and that also increases the chances of them giving you information or maybe something monetary. The thing now is, for you to increase the chances of someone giving something to you, you have to give them value. And in a business sense, we understand it. What we don't understand is how it affects our individual sense, how it affects our sense of communicating with people. If you walk up to a girl as a guy, or let's say the reverse, as a girl you walk up to a guy or something to ask for their number, you have a higher chance of getting the number if you can get them to genuinely laugh. Why? Because you have given them value. And that's the thing. There's the inherent framework of the value we add increase the chances of us getting what we ask for. But more so than that, it is what inherently separates asking from begging. Because begging feels like there's no added value, and it also feels like the value will not be reciprocated. Now, the second part of begging versus asking I want to talk about is the choice element. When you ask someone for something, if you have a built-in choice element to it, it increases the chances of them giving it to you. And it's also what separates asking from begging, because if I walk up to you as a friend like, Alpha, I want to drink Zobo. Like, it's not a big deal. I want to drink Zobo and I don't want to spend my money on Zobo. The moment you frame it like that, that statement is, one, this person can afford to buy the Zobo. Two, they are choosing not to buy it and they want me to spend my money. Why should I spend my money? Now, if this person already has value to you, because there's no pressure of you must buy the Zobo, in the sense that since they have the money, if it's really that much of a need for them, they can get it themselves. So why should I do it? It makes you more likely to do it in it's not a big deal. One, the value is there. This person has value in my life. Two, it's something they can afford. Three, it's just, I can choose to say no and I know it won't be bad blood. And that's where asking differs from begging, because most times beggars try to sway you emotionally. It's not just in the asking you, it's in the making you feel like, oh, you not giving them is morally bad. And that's what makes us fundamentally feel uncomfortable. And it's also what makes us less likely to give. And it's also what makes us, even when we give to beggars, we don't necessarily feel fulfilled. We just feel, I would rather not, but And that's where the beggars in the middle of the street, when they ask for money, they are less likely to get it. Because for one, they have made us feel fundamentally uncomfortable. They have made us feel like, oh, they are nuisances to us, because their begging inherently is baked in with the no choice. You are supposed to do it, and when you don't do it, you are a bad person. And because you don't want to be faced with that moral dilemma of choosing to be a bad person or being a good person, you would rather not do it you are reacting to it. And what that reaction seems like is not dependent on the kind of person you are. Some people, the reaction is fight. It's like, will you get out of here? Some people, the reaction is more so freeze. They just disassociate. They don't want to look at the person. They just, or form activities, operating their phone. Some people is that whole pleasing of, yeah, now I have a reputation or something, an image to keep, and let me just do it. That kind of feeling is not there with asking, because asking gives the inherent choice of no. So one thing now you have to take as a tip is, if you want to get better at asking, you also have to build in the inherent no in a way that is obvious to who you are asking, and also learn how to react positively to the no. So if you ask someone for something and they say no, do not get angry, do not get offended, because they are not obligated to. And when you understand that, it first of all removes the weight of asking. It means it's easier for you to ask someone for something But secondly, it increases the chances of someone doing something for you later on because it is baked in. Now, let me give a real life story about this. When I was in school, a friend of mine made jollof rice with beef, I think. As students, cooking with beef are a big deal. So we went to his place to eat here. And after I was done dishing the food for all of us, it was myself with, I think, 2 other friends or 3 other friends. So we were like 4 or 5 in the room. And we were eating the food. The moment I bit into the meat, I really loved the taste. And I was like, Alpha, can I go and take another meat? And the guy was like, yeah, sure. And the moment I went to take it, every other person in the room was like, can I go and take another meat? The guy was like, no. If you see no ask, owner for no ask. Meaning, when I asked, there was the beauty he can say no and nobody will see it as him being a bad person. And that's because he was the one who cooked the food at his free will. He was the one who decided to dish the food for us. And me asking her seems like I'm being inconsiderate or I am being too selfish or greedy. So if he said no, nobody will see him as a bad person. And for that reason, he said yes because why not? But when every other person asks, there was not the beauty. You have already said yes to this person, Gesina. If you say no, there's the fundamental unfairness, which is now a moral dilemma of him saying no makes him a bad person. And he chose to say no regardless. This is where I said that moral dilemma, as much as we don't want to be a bad person, it increases the chances of us saying no. And that's why begging, especially when you beg a lot, you tend to get lesser and lesser of what you beg for as opposed to when you ask. So asking is knowing value. Asking is also having an inbuilt no installed in it. You just got installed in no, and that's it. Like I said, this episode was not properly researched or anything. I just wanted to talk my viewpoint based on my observation of asking and begging and the old distinction. Most times we don't try to create a distinction, but deep down we can tell the difference of how it feels when someone begs us for something versus when someone asks us for something. And that's why it's very important now to learn, because the art of asking is actually a very vital skill. It can help you in your workplace, it can help you in building relationship and all that. So go from being a beggar to a asker. And more importantly, when you ask people, don't beg. Okay, now take these tips. Go out and ask aggressively. Not aggressively, obviously, but be a better asker. And that's it, guys. Bye.